All right. That's Trey.
And that's Goldie.
We're friends
From
college.
college.
Then Trey married my sister.
But unfortunately, we got divorced.
We don't talk about that.
Mostly because there's nothing to talk about.
It was all good.
Our friendship deepened while we were both employed at an event production consulting company,
We spent 280 plus days on the road.
which made us expert business travelers.
And expert best friends who always had one goal in mind.
Host a podcast together. And after people didn't like the first 6 shows, including one where we interviewed building contractors in the Upper Peninsula while they were working,
And one where we searched the country for the next great kid blues guitarist.
we realized we weren't making shows about our true passion.
We had to talk about the thing we know and love more than anything.
Welcome to Business Trips.
Welcome to Business Trips. This week we're going to talk to a great new guest about their business travel tips, but first, let's pay some bills.
All right. Hey, folks, this episode of Business Trips is brought to you by CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM on Sunset. Curious about Bitcoin? Ready to dip your toe in those waters? There has literally never been a better time to give it a whirl. And it couldn't be easier thanks to CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM. Located at Sunset and Winona in the Zaytoon Grocery and Deli, CoinFlip is the world's leading Bitcoin ATM operator with low rates, easy-to-use machines, and convenient locations. With CoinFlip, you can convert your cash into crypto quickly and safely in 3 easy steps. Select the crypt of your choosing, scan your wallet address, and insert cash. CoinFlip's D-Smoke shop location services Los Angeles supports Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Dash, USD Coin, Stellar, Lumens, and Chainlink. This just in, for purchases of more than $10,000, you qualify for our white glove, high-touch concierge services that walks you through each step of the process. That sounds very cool.
That's great.
Bottom line, you don't have hours and hours to spend purchasing Bitcoins. That's why we're here. Swing by our ATM, load up on some Ethereum or Stellar Lumens, and get on with your day, whether that's kite surfing with your kids or gilling and gutting fish at a seafood packing plant where you work. Again, we're on Sunset, just east of Winona, right behind the COVID testing tent. CoinFlip. Now that was flipping easy.
That is actually something, because I don't know how to use it. We've talked about that,
Yes.
but it's making me feel like now I'm ready to get in on this.
This is the first time I was like, I think I'm going to go ahead. Because the part I don't get still was that you say your wallet address.
Right.
But I think if I Google that and figure that out, then I'm going to end up with some Bitcoins.
The second that you can just go to an ATM and make something like that happen, I'm like, I get it.
Because I thought you had to talk to a guy and you're sitting across a desk and he's going like, you don't get it. And I'm panicking, you know. I want it anonymous and I want an ATM.
I'm really excited about our guest
Me too,
today, Trey. This guy has traveled a lot of miles in his career. Please
Suffice to say.
Please welcome to the show, Marty Ahern.
Thanks, fellas. It's a pleasure to be longtime listener, first-time guest.
Thank you, Marty.
Thanks for coming on,
Yeah.
Marty. We're excited to talk to you about your tips. I mean, it sounds like you may have traveled. We talked to a lot of people who've traveled a lot, and you may have traveled more. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a veteran of business trips
You know,
yourself.
I put about 500K out last year.
Wow.
Nice. That's
Miles traveling. I set up Amazon distribution centers around the world, mostly in the States.
Wow.
Very
So
cool.
we build, we convert, fallow farmland or old steel factories, and then we get a prefab concrete company in the neighborhood, and it's got to be within 12 hours of shipping, because you want those trucks to deliver it and then get back home at night, and millions of cubic tons of concrete. It's a big project, but
That's cool.
Wow.
so I supervise those, set them up,
So
the acquisition to turnkey, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tip to tail. So you go around, you see a farm, and you say that could be.
Well, a realtor will scout locations for me.
Okay.
We need an interstate nearby, obviously. We need water and power. Those conveyors suck a lot of juice, so we need a power plant nearby. Everything runs on electricity. I'm sure you guys know this, but everything
Nowadays.
Well, yeah.
everything needs juice.
And I'm learning a little more these days about solar and how we're using some of that right now.
We're not there yet.
We're not, right?
No,
You guys are just doing good old-fashioned...
or maybe a hydro. We've got a couple distribution centers near some hydro plants.
The
but
Dutch were onto something with the windmills, and then now the ones that I see, I guess I don't understand them. Because they don't always seem like they're on.
right, you drive through that Palm Springs corridor sometimes, and like 10% of them aren't turning.
Some look broken. Some
They
look
don't
like
look
they're
cool. The Dutch ones look cooler too. They had a little house at the bottom that you always imagine like an elf or whatever in, and nowadays they're very thin blades, very tall.
Yeah.
100%. And also the other thing is you're not seeing at a putt-putt. You're never seeing the current ones. You're always seeing the Dutch ones.
Yeah, and to that end, I played putt-putt the other day with my kids, and there were no windmills at all. I don't know what
Now
that's
there's
about.
none.
I don't know if it's like forbidden. Is it not politically correct to have a windmill?
Might be me too.
Oh, I wonder.
Yeah,
if Dutch,
somebody might get a Me Too'd.
Yeah.
the
maybe.
Dutch people are Me Too'd. Yeah, that could be. So, walk us through. You get to town. You say, "Hey, Farmer John, I'm gonna make you a lot of money, and we're gonna turn this farm into a cool, shiny factory."
Well, it's a distribution
Distribution
center.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll get, we got to have probably 1,000 truck bays to get 1,000 trucks in,
Wow.
and, we're going to
Do they ever cry, the farm guys?
No, they're in on it. It's usually like you're coming in and you're buying, say, a minimum 1,000-acre parcel.
Uh-huh.
And, they're competing with whoever in the big global market. These are usually mom and pop farmers, and they're ready to get out because the margins in farming are still the same. They're broke-ass farmers.
So
no disrespect, but they're all broke-ass.
No, broke ass.
Yeah.
The like Foxconn is the one in China where just so many of these people are just killing themselves, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you're dealing with?
People killing themselves?
Well, at these factories,
Crying. Are they
They're
crying?
distribution centers,
I'm sorry.
first of all.
Yep.
They're distribution centers. We're not really making anything. We're packaging things up and loading them on, like I said, 1,000. And a lot of those vehicles are, clean air.
It's like
vehicles.
the Francis McDormand movie that I didn't really understand.
Oh,
yeah.
Nomad.
10 miles from...
Yes.
The
that's
Nomad
right.
one or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
10 miles outside of...
No,
all right.
that's the Billboard movie, I think.
Yeah,
you're
3
thinking of.
billboards outside
3 billboards
of...
outside of Nomad.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either. I didn't get either one of those because I don't
Yeah.
think they painted the...
I got
Those
one of them
people
and I
get
didn't
paid
get
a
the
lot of
other.
money.
Here's a question for you. $500K, are you getting upgraded every single time you're on a flight or?
Yeah, pretty much. I have a card. It's like platinum looking, but basically I have that card. I can get on any lounge,
I'd love to see that. Maybe after
any
we're done,
airline. I can-
Yeah, we'd love to.
We
later
don't even
on,
have to
but-
touch it. We
No,
just-
it's kind of what George Clooney was chasing in Up in the Air.
Yes.
The coup de grace.
When
yeah.
he was firing the people.
I've had to fire a lot of people myself.
All right, let's just stop everything else and hear about how do you do that?
Day-to-day.
Well, yeah, but how do you do that? How do you fire someone?
What's your day-to-day firing?
Okay, what's your day-to-day? How do you fire people?
I probably have, I guess, unfortunately, I probably have like 5 firings a day. I'm a hatchet
Wow.
man. A lot of what I have to do is go to sites
That's a lot.
and fire the plumbing contractor, fire the electrical contractor.
Yeah.
one by
you know.
one, or do you pull them all into the same area and just mow them down?
If they're of an equal level, like I wouldn't fire an executive with a lower level employee in the room, but if they're all executives, I'll pull 5 execs in and I'll pull 5 laborers in.
We got fired.
I don't cross lines.
We got laid off. We actually didn't get fired, but we got laid off.
Yeah, we were lucky to get laid off.
And because we had asked at the time, we were like, "Are we being fired?" And they were like, "Well, you can tell people you got laid off." And we're like, "Well, yeah, we're gonna tell people."
Is that what we're getting? And they said yes.
Yes.
Where was that? Where were you working?
Well, this production events company, and look, it's a classic thing that we're seeing more and more, and maybe you're dealing with this too. But mergers at the high level, how does that affect some of the other people? And we weren't quite middle management. I would say we were beneath that. We were lower.
Well,
Were you waiters? I'm unclear on what your job was. Were you waiters
we
serving
were not
food?
waiters. We were above.
No.
Above waiters,
No.
but not. We weren't looking down at the waiters from.
Were you
Coordinators. So on-site coordinators,
For a special event?
yeah. So
Yeah.
we would be, we
Khakis, white shirts.
Yeah.
Kind
of dress.
It feels like a way. Did you hold trays with food? Did you pass food out or
Barely
drinks?
ever.
We did.
Barely ever.
Did you set up bars? Like, did you
Yes.
set up a bar
Sometimes.
Yes.
and you would serve drinks occasionally, or at least display them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Not.
But
round
also
the clock.
there were meetings too.
Yes,
sure.
and we also were in meetings. We were event coordinators. Really.
Okay.
Is the best.
Client facing.
Sure, that's important. No,
Yeah.
that's very customer service is everything.
But
But
we
we relate to you in that we got fired
Yeah.
or laid off. Sorry.
so we were
Yeah.
on the other side of that, laid off.
But it's the same. I mean, it's what you said you do it 5 times a day.
In the busy season, yeah. I mean, I'll have not 5 times. Like I said, if it's one group, I can do it in 5 minutes.
It's a good thing you don't do the put the little tear tattoo each time you fire someone, like the
God.
people who are in
I have
prison.
like
who-
a peacock's
Yeah,
feathers
you'd
all
be-
over my face.
Those guys are killers.
Yeah. That
But yeah,
denotes a
so
murder.
so you say, have you ever done the "you fired"?
Oh, like Trump?
Is that what that's from?
No, I have
originally?
not done
Right.
that. That's actually very funny though. I wish I was that clever. That's
Yeah.
a very. I may just use
We
that.
love-
Can
we
I use
actually-
that?
Please,
it's
please.
I think that-
People, I bet the people getting
Yeah.
fired will laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You do the hand.
You know,
with
you need it. You
Yeah.
need it in those
Yeah.
situations because you know what? On the other side of that, turns out they're not really happy.
no, and I actually co-opted that with one of my nieces actually when she was little, and I would babysit sometimes.
Yeah.
And she'd be acting crazy, and I'd walk over to her real simple, and I'd go, "You tired?"
Oh, that's
Right,
nice.
and she didn't know what it was. She didn't understand the reference, obviously.
Or if you're stuck and obsessing about something, you could say you're mired.
You mired.
You're mired in
You
something.
mired.
I don't know. Just
write that.
I want to try to think of one.
or you could say you're rehired.
You
If you get a call after
it
the
too- is it
firing,
too
oh no,
many
2 wouldn't work.
syllables?
Yeah.
Well, and also like
Don't
then-
close the door. You're rehired.
right.
and then they're
Yeah.
but then they might not
No.
leave, and you're like, no, that was a joke.
Right.
Right.
You have to go home.
Right. You do. Yeah.
Maybe someone, if they're a big fan of the John Belushi book by
that was-
Woodward,
that's-
right? You wired.
I was
And that's
I had that.
what are you eating as a road dog? What's your diet like? What are the things you look
Because
for?
I'm so sorry.
please.
Just that it was like
Sure.
someone sets up a computer and they're like, you're wired. But
Right.
I didn't think about the book.
No, I
Sorry,
like
what-
that
what
too.
was your question?
That's-
What should
Or if
do?
you're delivering like a baby horse, you could say you're sired. Like how you
wow,
sire a
that's
foal.
a great one actually.
You're sired.
I feel that one's
Or
hard.
knighted. Is that the same? If you're sired, like you're made king.
Sired means I think you would say it to the offspring of
Yeah.
it would be like to a cult. You
Yeah.
know, like you've been
Like a kid that won't calm down and they've had too much sugar, you're wired.
These are all wired ones. Yeah, these are all great.
Well, oh, right.
I'm thinking these are all great.
Yeah. Just different versions of wired though. But yeah, it is good.
Marty, are you a books on tape when you're driving guy, or are you a music man?
Book on tape.
Okay.
Or a podcast like business trips. you know.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, very little music. I like local news. You know, I like to see what's
Nice.
going on, just to see if there's any strikes against Amazon. So I got to keep my, once I hit the ground, I want to know.
I didn't want to get into this without you welcoming us into it, and let us know if it's not. But there is a unionization movement happening. Are you?
I'm not here as a spokesman for Amazon. I have to
Okay.
be very clear about
Okay.
that.
All
Like
right.
we can unpack that off mic.
Fair enough.
But I'm very like here just as like entertainment.
I'm sorry.
Sort of
Absolutely.
tips,
Yep.
you
Fair
know.
enough.
We'll cut
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
out.
we can cut that.
So far, so good. No
All right.
problems.
Have you heard? Does
Send
Rachel
my
Ray?
assistant? Can you send my assistant the tape of the show when it's
Yeah.
done?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of
Michael.
course.
Make sure we get this.
That's his name. All
Nice
right.
to meet him again.
Yeah. So one thing, it just tips travel. I always travel with
Yes,
two.
yes.
Michael comes with me.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that's one
always.
tip is
Always get
is to
two
have an
seats
assistant.
together. I like the
Uh-huh.
aisle. I always bring my pillow. I check it in the closet. First class.
Oh, is that clean in there to do
Well,
that?
I have like what's a 50-pound rice bag. It's the perfect size empty, of course.
Uh-huh.
It has handles.
Wow.
And I slip the pillow in there, and then when I get to the hotel room, it turns into my laundry bag.
That might be the best use of a rice bag I've heard of. Other
Yeah.
Rice.
Yeah, it's very foldable. It's like plastic burlap almost.
It is.
Yeah.
Is that what do you call that stuff?
Honestly, I call it a rice bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 50-pound rice bag material. Mesh.
It is. Yeah.
It's like a plastic mesh.
I feel like in some countries, I think in Haiti, you're going to see people wearing like shorts made out of that stuff.
I use it to stop weeds in my yard.
Oh, throw it down on the ground?
Put that down.
Yeah.
Cover it with mulch.
Yeah, they use that at some of the developments too that we set up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So one tip so far, listeners, I mean, we're getting more than one tip. A lot of our guests give one tip, period.
Oh,
So we so far have always travel with
an assistant.
Yeah.
an assistant,
And they
a-
can deal with
a
all the
rice
counter
bag.
staff. I never deal with the counter staff. Michael will go. Michael, he's got all my needs. You know, I can't have
Like
wool in the
5
room.
phones.
I'm allergic to down.
No wool,
So
no down.
yeah. So
and
Michael
so
will
he's
have
talking
that,
to
and then
them
Michael will
about
sleep
that.
in a cot in the room. So I have to have like a living room area because I
Okay.
might have an idea for something, and I'll wake up and I'll like write this down.
That's smart.
Oh, he writes it down.
With my assistant.
Yeah. Is he? Now this ideation. This is coming throughout the night during sleep, or is it
Smaller cot. That's Michael. Write down smaller cot. You don't need such a big cot.
Oh, that's
sleep
smart.
on.
That's gonna
That's
be nice
smart.
for
It
you.
just gives me more
Create
foot
a little
room
more-
if I happen to walk around. I like to
Yeah.
pace when I think. Sometimes I stub my toe on the cot.
Yeah, you can hurt an ankle on an assistant cot.
Oh, we need more rice bags.
He's got so many phones. Okay, so that's a great first tip.
Yeah.
If you're listening,
Get an
out there,
assistant.
Get an assistant.
Well, yeah, I would. Do you guys have assistants? I assume everyone has an
I
assistant.
haven't, and the reason is because we hadn't had you as a guest yet. I feel
Oh.
like, and so I had never even thought of it.
Well, that's tip number one. Get an assistant.
Yeah, and we
personal
have
assistant.
obviously support staff here for the podcast, but they don't work for us, So it's yeah, we'd like to get to that point. It'd be great to have someone who's just there to honestly cater to whatever. Because I'm sure you have moments where you're like, can I please get
Say
a
you guys had a
grilled
case
cheese?
of water in your car,
Uh-huh.
and you wanted to bring it in here to the studio for guests and for yourselves.
Yeah,
That's what the assistant does.
right.
They'll go to Costco or wherever. I don't even know where people buy water, honestly. But
I mean, that's by the way, there's a sign of where you've made it to. You don't
Yeah.
even know where they sell water.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
I think.
well, I don't know. Isn't that normal? Do you know where people sell water? I just assume that's normal.
I mean,
You don't
I'm
really-
finding it everywhere.
almost
Oh,
everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gas stations will have
McDonald's, everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone.
it. Even Starbucks, which is the last place you'd expect to have it, they've got quite a few choices.
They've got the most water.
They have a lot of water, and I guess that makes sense too, because they probably use more water than just about,
It doesn't matter. The biggest thing we want to know is tip number 2.
yeah, whatever that is.
I mean, if
Is it, and if it's hotel related, that's on
Yeah.
my bingo card.
okay, well,
it's okay.
if you're gonna, let's say you're,
I think I know where this is going.
Say you're traveling international,
Nope,
right?
I was off too.
I was
yeah.
not. Yeah,
And you're
Yes.
setting up you're setting up a distribution center in Inner Mongolia in the steppes,
Wow.
okay? And it's just
Okay.
like barren and
Living
cold.
the freaking
yeah,
dream.
that's living the dream. Yeah.
If you've been there, you wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Got it. Genghis Khan's backyard, basically, is what we're talking about.
Sure.
Very desolate part of the
God
world.
he
It's a little
is deceased.
rapey there.
Yeah, it is. He
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and you're thinking like it's gonna be cold. I might want to. I don't know if I can say this. I might want to prostitute tonight.
That's part of the business, I
Yeah.
think, of being
In international, the wife's fine with it,
okay.
and
Oh,
I got to get Michael out of the room. So I'm gonna put him in a long stay, or
Do they
extended stay.
they have a residence in Mongolia.
No, they have an Embassy Suites, which has a better breakfast. Embassy Suites has an omelet station. Even in Mongolia, if you can find the Embassy Suites.
A manned omelet station.
Yeah. A chef to order. So that would be my second thing. Get an assistant. And then if you're going to have a prostitute where you have to put your assistant up in a extended, he doesn't get to stay at the Four Seasons, obviously.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
even a Four Seasons in
There
Mongolia?
is. And you're traveling a bit, but you can find him. You can find him.
That's in Kadunk or
Yeah,
where?
Kadonk.
Right. Did I tell you? Yeah, I studied a little bit about that.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
what's the tip that he
If you're going to
goes-
have to put your assistant up
Yeah.
in an extended stay hotel,
right?
give him the Embassy Suites.
Well,
They have the best breakfast brunch
I see, so that he can have breakfast
options. They got like fixins for the oatmeal.
Yes.
You'll get
I
walnuts.
love-
You'll get cranberries.
Do you
You'll
want
get. Go ahead.
Do you want to prostitute that long?
I mean, if it's a long,
Yeah,
I'll
what if
stay
you're there
2
for a
months
month?
at a time.
2 months, and then
And she'll do the laundry. I'll have her help with the
2
laundry.
months? That's a pretty woman. You do a pretty woman every time you go to Indonesia or whatever.
If it's international, I have my hall pass.
You do a pretty woman.
Yeah, that's a good arrangement. I feel like, and then the
And
rest.
a lot of execs have this, situation.
This is a
Road
peek
dog.
behind the curtain.
Yeah.
That it was just above our pay rate when we
So
were
you
traveling.
guys, if you traveled international, you wouldn't have a prostitute.
We don't even know.
We didn't get to travel international with that job.
No.
It was a lot of Florida, a lot of
A little
right
Texas,
outside of
a little
Florida, yeah.
Texas, a lot of Florida. Little.
But would we? I feel like at the time I was
Married
dating
to my sister.
Goldie's sister.
Yeah,
so
dating, and then married, but
well, when we were working that job, I was dating her.
Yeah.
The point is that
Yeah.
I don't think she.
I would have been
would've
fine with it.
been-
You know that. I would have been
I
fine with
appreciate
it.
that, but she would have been.
Probably not. She probably would have
Maybe,
been.
and that's not anything bad against her. I
Well,
mean, that's a
she's
compliment to your
old-fashioned.
wife, maybe.
Well, honestly, I'd like to believe that if my wife was the breadwinner and she was going international, I'd give her the same courtesy.
Get out there.
I don't want to know about it. Like,
Yeah.
International, though.
you're traveling over that border, and it's an extended run, like say a
Yes.
month.
Right.
If it's a 2-day trip and I'm in Hong Kong, I don't need a prostitute.
What happens in Kundun stays in Kundun.
Yeah, in the steps. Yeah. But the Embassy Suites, solid.
I had no idea.
Solid breakfast.
We love Embassy
brunch.
Suites. We're a big fan of the Hampton Inn and what they've been doing because we think
I've never stayed in one. I've never stayed in an embassy. I just toured the breakfast to make sure you had a nice
okay.
breakfast.
Checked it out for him. Folks, I guess what we're saying is get an assistant and then send him to the Embassy Suites
Yeah.
if you have a long-term month or two affair with a prostitute overseas for those
The only thing I changed there is I wouldn't call it an affair. It's an arrangement.
Well, it's also, by the way, prostitution in some cultures is legal. In other cultures, it isn't, but it doesn't change the fact that it is a business transaction more than a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I always fall in love in those situations. I haven't gotten
does.
a
does.
woman like that per se, but when we did go to a strip club and
You fell in love.
I got crushes.
Yeah.
Do you ever get crushes? Isn't that hard?
No, because I'm looking at blueprints. I'm going to fire someone. I'm trying to find Michael if he's not downstairs.
Where is Michael when he's not?
Well, he's probably shoveling down some more Embassy Suites,
Yeah.
buffet. And if I said, wheels up at 8:30 and he's not there,
Are you not giving
that'll
him?
start the day off on a bad foot.
Does he not know if he's going to be eating at the same time every day with you? Is it sort of he's like, oh, I'm
catch
getting
as
food
catch
right
can.
now.
When you get outside of the U.S. and you're doing business, you have like a petty cash fund, and you're sort of improvising, much like the military was in the Afghanistan. You sit down with people and you offer them money to get things done.
Right.
And also, those meetings can happen at midnight. They can happen with the prostitute. They can happen without the
I
prostitute.
heard about that.
It's a very flexible schedule.
Yeah. I heard about in the war in Afghanistan that the meetings were in crazy wonky times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hours. That some of them were late at night, early, and I think a lot of that is that it's a different culture.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of different cultures overseas. That's a simple way to put it.
Let's pay a bill.
Let's do it.
Business Trips Podcast is also brought to you by Sky Tours LA. Since 2000, Sky Tours has been helping make quality travel happen. Our passion is travel and exploration of all that the world has to offer. Our other passion is top-notch service. We're lucky to be doing what we love and continuing to love what we do, and we take all of it seriously. By helping you build a customizable tour, we can ensure the best travel experience and the best use of your travel budget. This is not to be confused with a guarantee of any kind. That's interesting. In our experience, any business that gives you a guarantee is a business to be wary of. When it comes to travel, especially international travel, you must also take into account the political climate of the destination you're traveling to. We go out of our way to research not just the value of your dollar and the places you're going to visit, but also the dangers of the environment. Wow.
Funny, apropos.
Yeah. We aren't. No, that's okay. We aren't trying to scare you, but there are certain places around the globe where armed kidnappings occur with regularity. Places where drug cartels or insurgent militias rule with a heavy touch. We're here to help you navigate it all, whether a ski tour in the Swiss Alps or a beach tour in one of the safer places of Mexico, or somewhere in the Caribbean that isn't Jamaica, Dominican Republic, or Haiti. We're here. Sky Tours LA. Let's travel. You know, it's weird. We should read some of this copy, I feel like, before we do it, but I like just not knowing all the time, and then you're surprised sometimes by what they're talking about in these ads. These are just, I don't hear a lot of these ads.
Yeah. But we're thankful to Sky Tours.
Sky Tours LA.
Yeah, that's for like independent, but like at Amazon, we have a crisis management team and researchers, and they're reading the political winds, and if there's something going down, like I was over in Egypt when the Arab Spring was happening, so they had to gas up the G5s and get us out of there a week before the riots and the protests were happening.
Do they still have the pyramids?
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't even think that's what they were mad about.
Huh?
No, I don't know what they're upset about, but it wasn't the pyramids.
I think they're fine with that. I bet they're neutral on them. It's kind of like when you ask us about, like, what do you think of that cracked bell, Liberty Bell?
Yeah.
You go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we?
Yeah.
So, folks, today's episode of Business Trips is dedicated to our fact checker, Nevin Lil Squirt Thompson. This is truly one of the saddest losses we've ever had here at Business Trips. Nevin Lil Squirt Thompson was small in stature, but huge in personality and influence to a community of people that stretched beyond the podcast, and we will all never forget him. Quick anecdote, Lil Squirt is the reason I signed up for Duolingo.
That's right.
He turned me onto that, and also, just to get some perspective, my mom used to send Lil Squirt a Christmas card every year. She met Squirt in about 2009 when she was visiting me in LA, and she and Squirt were immediately best friends. When my dad passed, Squirt sent her some Zingerman's deli,
love Zingerman's.
Pastrami and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was Lil Squirt to a T. Lil Squirt was strangled in his car last night. Obviously, we'll need to know more details about that. But this episode and every single damn one going forward is for Squirt. A tiny guy with a huge heart.
We're going to miss that guy, and honestly, I mean, if it feels like things are a little loosey-goosey for the next little while, it's going to be because we're
missing
Nevin.
That's tragic.
Where
do you know where where was he when the strangling happened? What part of town?
He was parked outside.
Right out
Oh,
front.
right here.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Studio parking lot.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've been dealing with a lot of weird. But you know what? We
Violent.
moved
That's
through
a
it.
violent killing.
It's intimate.
Strangling is like that person knew Lil Squirt would be my guess.
It's not an accident, certainly.
Yeah.
In the way that
I don't know how well, but that would be. I'm not a detective.
No, but we could use
we
one.
aren't either, but we're leaning hard on them right now.
We're supposed to meet with them later.
But that was what we said too. We're like, this isn't the same as, a bus hit a
No.
person, and then you're like, are we gonna lock that bus driver up for?
One of the-
Strangling is a little bit more intentional.
Yeah, you're looking someone in the face unless you're getting them from behind, I would assume, and it's not a piano wire situation that I have heard,
I have not
but
heard either
Yeah,
yet.
and I'm assuming nothing was stolen from the car. or
Nothing's
just-
stolen.
just
Nothing,
just
which is always-
targeted
No.
Squirt. and
Yeah,
killed
you'd
him.
almost like in this situation, you'd almost like to hear. And they took his entire book of CDs.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, less tragic somehow.
Yeah, well, they needed that, but
Yeah.
don't take his. But bigger headline, they didn't take anything.
Marty, what's up ahead for you in the next quarter? Do you know where you're going? How quickly?
I did have one more tip just to throw in really
third
quick.
tip.
Unbelievable.
Ding ding
I
ding. We
didn't-
need a sound effect. Maybe in
I'm
post.
happy
put
that I have
here
enough
like a-
tips because I didn't know
Are
if
you
I could
kidding
be
me?
relatable
It
to your audience.
Oh,
You've
they're
been
gonna love this one.
fantastic. Yeah.
Hey, put in the comments if you like that there is more than one tip on this one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you're traveling international,
Okay.
buy an interpreter. That way you don't have to do Duolingo. You don't have to learn the language.
When you say buy an interpreter, do you mean a program for your phone, or do you mean
No,
an
you
actual-
get a guy or gal who's a native speaker and is fluent in English. And it's almost like having a second assistant, I guess, really. Because when you're there, you want them riding shotgun always. And that's actually a second room probably at the Embassy Suites.
And
Because you
maybe-
probably want to take care of them.
Maybe is there a way to combine the roles of
Would a prostitute and an interpreter?
No.
No,
That's-
they don't. You don't. Never shall the twain meet. How does that go?
Yeah, that's not clean.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I see.
Because then you'd be bringing them into business meetings too, right? And then
A
it's like,
prostitute as an assistant or a prostitute as
well, I
an
guess
interpreter?
as an interpreter. I
I
mean, because
was
then you say,
thinking,
"Look,
yeah,
we're gonna
'cause
get
you're
dinner
like-
tonight."
No, I bring prostitutes to functions all the time.
Cool.
Not to a deal meeting though.
No, not in the business sense. No, more of a social thing. If I'm meeting
maybe
like
that's our tip to you.
if I'm meeting like a warlord in some country or like the the mafia, the equivalent of the mafia for that city or that region,
Very cool.
I can bring a prostitute
Wow.
with me.
And does the prostitute ever give you like the phrase here for that? Because then you're basically getting that interpreter.
I just don't want to trust the language barrier with a prostitute. That's not her profession,
Right.
ultimately.
You're right.
But
you don't want to make
it
that.
happens. Sure, informally it happens. Like I've had several helpful prostitutes
The other thing I was
that I
gonna,
still keep in touch with.
The other thing I
You're
was going
friends
to.
with them. I love that.
Other thing I was going to
Yeah,
pitch is
I guess
maybe
we are friends.
does it make sense? I guess it doesn't because
I
it
just
goes,
learned something about myself. That's interesting.
I love that.
you wouldn't want Michael to be a prostitute, right? Because then it's like same thing. Now you're
You don't.
Can
have
you
to
see how quickly that would get
it
complicated?
just you don't want it.
don't
You
have
want
to-
to.
Well,
answer?
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You were married to Goldie's sister.
Yes.
What was her name?
Bridget.
What was the crux of the difference that you guys knew you weren't matched well?
Oh boy.
Here
Just
we
is there
go.
simple?
There's a few things, but
Bottom line,
Yeah.
I want like 6 or 7 kids.
Okay.
and that number has come down a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
at the time, I think you were talking
I might
nine,
have been
9,
higher,
10.
and,
Yeah,
and she was a hard 0.
yeah.
Yeah. So like having Michael be my prostitute, is that what you're asking?
I guess I don't mean literally, Michael. I mean, no judgment, but I guess I just mean, yeah. You know what? You answered it really
it was
well.
that would make irreconcilable
I don't think.
differences.
Yeah, you don't want
honestly, like because I want business and I want pleasure.
You don't want to
and-
poop where you work, and you don't want to
Sure.
Eat where you
eat
work.
where you work.
Yeah. I mean, you can eat where you work. I've done that.
Yeah, that one's not true.
Yeah, job sites you're
I
eating.
don't
like, yeah.
actually, but I don't love to eat where I work. I don't think it's the best way to eat. I don't think it's good for your digestive system, and actually, I don't think it makes.
But we build lunchrooms in every distribution center. Very nice ones. Very
cool.
nice
That's
that might
lunchrooms
that
and
might-
cafeterias.
that might
So
be-
that's eating
that might
where
be
you
the
work.
exception.
But I mean,
And you don't want to get hungry where you work too. That's
Yeah.
the
a
old
lot of, and there's a
chicken
lot
and
of
the
like
egg.
this food truck culture is everywhere, overseas here.
So that's
There's
here to
always
stay.
Oh, they
happening.
do have them overseas.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
just
that's
starting
cool.
to catch on.
Crepes and whatnot.
Crepes, bagel dogs.
Never understand a savory
Fries.
crepe for the life of me.
Yeah, I'm
Why?
not a crepe guy.
I don't like crepes
Savory.
at all. And then making it savory.
Yeah,
it's like,
cream, sour
guys,
cream or
this is a
something.
pancake.
Yeah, it's a blintz at that point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is
Business Trips.